Welcome to Prof E Plays. This is Prof E, and today I'm going to be playing a little game called Exclusion Zone Botanist. This got an Ennie Award at, was it Gen Con, I think it is? Yeah, it's Gen Con that gives that out. For the best free, I guess, item or whatever, the best free product, that's it, that was available last year. All right, so this is something that's, in some sense, kind of in my wheelhouse, and in some sense, way outside of it, in that it is a solo game. However, it is a drawing game, and I am a terrible artist, so I figured the world should know that, or at the very least, both of my subscribers should. No, I'm kidding. There are like a half dozen of you, so all of my subscribers should have the benefit of seeing how terrible I am at any kind of art. Okay. All right, so anyway, that's what we're doing. I have a slightly odd setup here. You can see I'm doing the top-down camera, but I don't have like a rig to do this, so I literally have a piece of plastic that's clear enough for my camera to get through, and it is situated between a cardboard box and a milk crate. And so, hey, seems to work. Okay, so the basic idea of this game, though, is that you have been hired to go into this exclusion zone area and to document the various flora that you find there. The thing about this area, though, a few things about it. One is that technology does not work there, which means that if you get stuck, you're dead, effectively, right? Because there's no way that somebody can come in to get you out. Another thing about it is that it has some sort of contamination, I guess is the word that I'm going to use for that. So what you have to do then is we'll be entering here at the infill exfil portal, right? We explore the area, and then we head back out and try to get out before the contamination totally corrupts us, is the idea. Right, so, and then as we work our way through, we will be trying to discover plants, and then if we discover a plant, we will be drawing it based on various prompts that are given to us. Right, so that's really what it is. All right, so we're going to start, and you can also see, as time goes on, right, effectively the corruption level or radiation level, whatever you want to think of it as, gets worse, right, as things go. And so I'm going to be coming in then, so we're going to start. The first thing we do, so I'm going to go ahead and mark off that first hour. So we're coming in at 5 in the morning, right here, and I'm going to look for new plants. So I begin here at the portal. So right here is where I am, and my first, I guess I'll put a 5 there to indicate where I am at that point in time. So 5, and then I'm going to roll a die. 6. So in order for me to find a new plant that has not yet been documented, I have to roll a number that is equal or less than the number for the zone that I'm in. 6 is definitely not equal or less than 1, so I didn't find any new zones here. Next thing I need to do then is to check for corruption. Right, so to do this, right, so the RV would be the risk value that is indicated here on the sheet, so RV1. So I need to roll my 2 dice. If they both come up as equal or less than that, then I do experience some corruption. So I roll it up. Okay, so I got a 1 and a 2. Well, 2 is not less than 1, therefore this die saved us from corruption this time. Okay, and then we keep moving. Right, so I can I can move any direction that I wish within the exclusion zone. So I'm going to, my hope is, this is kind of my strategy, I kind of want to head this direction to hit the 6, because then I know that I'm going to be finding new stuff here. And then I want to try to get out as quick as I can. So I'm going to go here, so 6 right there. So that's where we are now. And anything new here? No. And check for corruption. And the 4 saved me, so no. All right. Next then, I'm going to go here. Oh no, I'm going to go here. So 1 or 2, it's a 3. So maybe you're not going to see me draw at all. Not until I get to zone 6, I guess. All right, so nothing here. Roll my 2 dice, and definitely not falling into corruption here. All right, now 8. We're now in zone 3, so there's a good 50-50 chance I'm going to have to draw something, but I don't. All right, and check for corruption. Definitely not. RV2, so they would have both had to have been 2 or less. I'm going to move right on top of the 3 here, so this is where my 9 is going to be. Any new plants? Nope. And any corruption. Number 2 is my number now. Definitely not corruption. Okay. 10. I'm going to go to this hex. And I did find a new plant. All right. So when you find a new plant, then there are a number of prompts that you have to go through. So the first thing that I need to do is determine the overall plant size. So I roll a d6 for that. 5 would be, this is a large plant, so I'm thinking it's probably something like a tree. Next thing, the leaf type. So I roll 2d6 and I add them together. Right, so it's a 5. 5 indicates that it's an elliptic leaf type. Then also the leaf arrangement. 1 would indicate that it's alternate. So I do have here, this is part of what you can get. Right, so this is the elliptic and alternate leaf placement. Last thing would be any kind of unusual features. Right, so there is an update to this. Like the original handout has things like razor sharp leaves or whatever, but I have a different supplement that came out in, I think it's version 9, where the handout version is 8. Right, so here we go. So roll the 2 dice and read them separately. So 3 indicates that I will look at plant group B, and then 1. So this, whatever this plant is, its unusual trait is that it has sticky mucus. So thick mucus coats the trunk, branches, and all the leaves. Clear and sickly yellow swirls. When touched, it's almost impossible to clean off. Has a strangely sweet and pleasant odor. You wonder what it tastes like. All right, so now I'm going to try to draw this thing. All right, so first, it's going to be a tree. So I'm going to draw something vaguely tree-shaped. Okay, so there's kind of a trunk here. And it's going to branch. Like I said, I'm not at all an artist. I leave that to my cousins. I think I have something like I think it's 2 cousins that have art degrees of various kinds. So. The good news, though, is that this is something that you don't actually have to be particularly good at it. It's supposed to be kind of alien-looking anyway, right? All right, and then I want to make sure that I get these leaves in here. So an elliptic leaf with alternates. So right here would be one of those leaves, or another leaf. It's kind of fun. Like, even though, as I say, I'm not at all an artist, there is something kind of relaxing in the process. Especially when it doesn't actually have to be any good. I suspect if I were to try to do this as like some kind of career, it would probably stress me out. Is in here actually like producing for an audience that, you know, we're going to have problems if what you produce is not up to snuff. Okay, elliptic again. What I'm going to do is just kind of draw an ellipses. An ellipses, no, an ellipsis. Ellipse, that's what it's called. Oh, goodness, Professor. I have to say, it's certainly not going to win any awards. No, it's not opposite, it's alternate. Yeah, so apparently the leaves on this tree are extremely sparse. Oh, the focus here is terrible. It's probably focusing too much on my hands, I suspect. There we go. That's better. Oh, this game is available if you're interested in it, and you're probably, I mean, there's a good 90% chance you're a better artist than I am. This game is available on itch.io. I will put the link available in the description. There we go. All right, and then we need to do something to indicate that there's some kind of mucus on it. So I wonder, maybe I'll put some like little drips here or something like that. Like little lines to indicate there's some kind of shine to it maybe. Oh no, that'd not be, the shine would be more like this kind of, you know, it's not quite doing what I want it to do. Yeah. Let's go back to the drips. So let's put like a thin coating on this. Now, of course, one thing I could do, I could break out colored pencils, that kind of thing. I do have some colored pencils, but they're not anywhere nearby. I have to go out of my garage, which is really hot today. Yeah, we're in the middle of a bit of a heat wave here in Northeast Ohio where I live. Late June, which is kind of unusual to be this hot, but it's been like around 90 degrees or so in the heat of the day. Only getting down to about 70, 71, 72 at night. Okay, so there's my first one. Not terrible, actually. For as bad of an artist as I am, I'm relatively happy with that. And then I need to come up with some kind of name for this. Let's call it, I'm not very creative. Let's call this the, let's say sticky, oh no. Okay, so it has a sweet, pleasant odor. So I think I'm gonna call this the Popa tree. There we go. All right, so it's the Popa tree. It's the first thing we found. I'm gonna put a little star there, indicating that it's someplace we found something. All right, now that we've done that, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and cross off the 10 here to indicate that we've done that. Now I need to check for corruption. So we did find a new plant, and checking for corruption here. Risk value is 2. Neither of them is less than 2, so we're certainly fine. All right, so now let's head into the next zone. Now, as far as I know, there's no rule saying you can't go to the same place more than once, so it's not like I've now, blocked off my way out or anything like that. I've not seen any rules saying that you can't cross your own path. Also, that would be stupid, because obviously you can walk along a path again. Okay. All right, so on hour number 11, cross off here, and there we are. So at this point, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we're 7 hours into our expedition, right? So if we were to turn around and go back, at this point it would take us, again, we'd have to spend another 6 hours to work our way out. So that takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we would be leaving like kind of these 5 hours on the table. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to spend a little bit more time here, but I don't want to push it too much because I don't want to die. All right, so let's see. Zone 6. Oh yes, so zone 6. We're obviously going to find something less than or equal. So yeah, there's absolutely no reason that we have to do this. All right. All right, so, I mean, there's no reason we have to roll, because obviously I'm going to roll a 6 or less. So then let's find out what kind of plant I'm finding here in this zone. All right, so we, again, are going to roll first for size. All right, so this type, size is a 4, so this is a medium-sized plant, something like a shrub. Okay, and 4 again. Oh, wait, no, let's add together. So 8. 8, so it's a lanceolate leaf, right? So it's kind of wider at the bottom, and then it gets narrower toward the top. Right. The leaf arrangement, 2, so it's again alternate leaves. And then to find out what type of special trait, okay, so 6 indicates that it's in plant group D, and 4, so it says dyschronometria, or metria, more of a bush than a tree. Oh, that's what I already decided. Large sword-shaped leaves sprout from the center. Each one has a sharp, serrated edge. Various leaves sprout from each of the central leaves. Your vision blurs as you briefly lose your balance. Regaining control, you check your mechanical chronometer to find that 2 hours have passed. All right. All right, so I mean, 2 hours have passed, so we're now, so I guess I'll put a star here. and just make a note here of 6, 4. Right. Okay, that's all right. So it will now be, it'll be turn, oh wait, turn 13. It says when you advance the hour, you advance it by 2 instead of by 1. Okay, yes. All right, so but now we still need to draw this plant, right? So it's this bush-like plant. So I'm going to turn to a new page in my little, yeah, this, all I did for this, it's kind of an origami kind of booklet, right? So I took a sheet of paper and with some cutting and folding, you can make a very small booklet out of it. It gives you 8 pages. I figured I probably won't discover more than 8 plants, most likely. All right, so it's kind of a bush-like thing, and very important is it tells us that large sword-shaped leaves sprout from the center, each one with a sharp serrated edge. And various leaves sprout from each of the central leaves. Okay, so that tells me what the center is like and that it's very sword-like. Right, so I guess I'll give like a very small trunk here, and then yeah, I'm just gonna give it like a crown here, and then everything else is gonna be these sword-like leaves. Oh, it's supposed to be a serrated edge though. Not a bad first attempt. Then serrated edge. How should I communicate that? That's not terrible. Okay. And then I think that I'm going to have more, so providing a little bit of layering here. Okay, and then each of these leaves, it says, has other leaves, and that's where these lanceolate leaves are going to come in. So I will try to draw some lanceolate leaves on top of this. I'm not very, I don't know how many times I have to say I'm not a very good artist, but anyway. So I'm going to try their alternate again. So. Some of this is clearly not great. You know, I'm kind of tempted to say this is about as good as it's going to get. All right. But I should probably draw some more over here, at least, to indicate that there are these other leaves. Yeah, I think maybe I'll do that. I'll add these leaves kind of around the outside, less so in the front, where I think things would end up looking a little bit too messy. I'm just going to try putting a few out here and see what that ends up looking like. Oh, maybe not as bad as I thought. As long as it's something where, like, I want to show that there's something layered on top of that. What was that? uh, this is a very quiet video, so I feel like I should be talking more, but I really don't know what to talk about. If for some reason this is the first video from my channel that you are watching, so what this channel is really all about, it's stuff that I find fun. Right? That's why it's called Prof Plays is my channel. It's really just me playing. In terms of what type of playing I do mostly focus here on, and I think so far it's exclusively tabletop role-playing games. Right? So things like I have a couple sessions of me playing D&D with my kids you can watch. I have some where I talk about kind of how I do planning for those sessions. These kind of look like flames when I'm looking at them, but yeah, I think they turned out all right, given my relatively limited abilities. Yeah, not the worst. All right, so next then. So rather than it being 12, oh wait, no. I drew, but now I need to check for corruption. Okay. Interestingly, this doesn't make it sound like I need to check for corruption twice, which I think is good. Checking for corruption, now I'm at level 3. Nope, no corruption. Boy, I've been real lucky. Okay, so then I'm going to go over here, 13. Okay, again, I know that I'm going to have some kind of plant that I'm going to have to draw. You might say, Professor, if you're so bad at drawing, why do you do this? Well, I thought I'd give it a shot. You know, sometimes you want to try stuff that's new, right? Okay, so this is going to be a small plant. Oh no, a large plant. So 6 is a large plant. And then in terms of its leaf shape, it's an 11, which is an orbicular shape, which looks like it's kind of circular in some way, roughly. All right, so we'll see how we can do that. And then leaf arrangement, alternate again. All right. Alternate, I think, despite the fact that it's a 1 in 3 chance based on the tables here, it seems to be very common in this zone. So number 3, that gives us plant group B. So plant group B doesn't have as many special effects, okay, so caustic berries. Brightly colored berries, extremely caustic. They've killed all the surrounding plants. You see a blackened saponified rabbit at the base of the plant, converting to soap by the alkalinity. Saponification is a great word as far as that goes. All right, so let's go ahead and try a hand at drawing this thing. All right, so remember, it's again a large plant. So I'm going to start with my kind of tree trunk kind of shape. At the same time, we know that there's a rabbit down here. I'm not going to... I'm not stupid enough to try to draw a rabbit. Right? But this does suggest that there might be, because one thing that I do, which I might actually do some on the channel at some point, because this is one way that I play, is that I raise apple trees, and apple trees will sometimes, around their base, get what they call suckers, which are just like these sprouts that come up like this, right? So I think it's possible that you can get big trees that have these types of things, right? So, yeah, we'll work with it. All right, so we've got that. Again, I want to do kind of the basic kind of tree shape, although, you know what, this one, I'm thinking to make this more like an oak tree, right? So rather than like branching off and all of this, it's going to have kind of one fairly straight trunk. It's fairly tall, right? And then we'll have branches coming off to the side. Oh, you know what? No, let's have them droop. Yeah, so drooping branches, and that would explain, right, how we could end up with I'm supposed to be naming these. Drawing is enough of a creative challenge for me. Okay, this looks almost pine-like at this point. But I've also not added any of the berries or the leaves yet. So let's go ahead and do that. So the leaves are kind of, it's a very irregular shape, from what I can tell. Orbicular, and the name suggests that it's like an orb. Right, so it is roughly circular. And also they are alternating. So here and here, I'm just going to draw my little stems for the leaves first, like so, and then I'm going to draw them basically as circles, And then at the end, oh, that's what I'll do. Then at the end of the branch is where you get these clusters of berries. So I'm going to draw the clusters of berries for each of these branches. So apparently this is an end-bearing plant. That is some tip-bearing. Tip-bearing is the term. That's certain types of apple trees. You get some that are what they call spur-bearing, some that are what they call tip-bearing, where what happens for the spur-bearing, which is what a lot of the kind of the modern apples that you would eat from the grocery store and the like, that come from spur-bearing plants because they tend to produce more. Right, so economically, it makes sense as the orchard owner, right, to go ahead and grow those. But there are also some of it tends to be more of the older heirloom type of varieties that are tip-bearing. So there's one of my wife's favorites is a Cortland, which you very rarely are going to find in any kind of commercial grocery store, just because they don't travel very well. That is one thing. If you happen to live anywhere near like an orchard, I do actually recommend going and buying your apples there, because we actually have the orchard that we go to here, where I live. I talked to the owner one time. It was actually the first time we went to that orchard, and he said, the best thing about the Red Delicious apple is the marketing job the state of Washington did on them. Is that kind of everybody associates apples with Red Delicious, despite the fact that compared to many of the alternatives, they're kind of terrible. But the one thing that they do really, really well from an orchard owner perspective is that they travel shockingly well, and they have been over time kind of selected for that particular trait. Right, so they don't bruise very easily. It's really, really rare, right, to find a bruised Red Delicious, that kind of thing. And they have because they have very thick skin. But a lot of what was sacrificed there was the texture of the apple itself, right? So, and this is something I find especially, if I'm staying in a hotel or something like that, and you have the continental breakfast, and they inevitably have a bowl with apples, and the apples are all generally Red Delicious is the most common you're going to find there. Okay, so let's see what do we think of that? That's not terrible. All right. Not terrible is going to be my assessment on all of these drawings, just to be very clear about that. All right, so now that we've drawn that, let's see if I get any corruption yet. Oh, I forgot to mark off the hour. So we're still in that hour, though. But RV3, oh, it happened. Okay, so both of them are 3 or less, which means we do experience some corruption, so I will check off the first one. So what I've experienced now is that I begin to itch. As someone who has a child spend a lot of time in the woods, I know this is not an uncommon occurrence because, while I did spend a lot of time in the woods, I also spent a lot of time itching poison ivy. So, yeah, that's probably what's going on, right? It's just poison ivy. Yeah, I don't want to give away too much. If you're worried, if you want to play this game and be surprised by it, you won't be, because the instructions tell you exactly what's happening, and it's all kind of laid out in a single page. So, you're going to see spoilers immediately. All right. Anyway, so hour 14 arrives, and we move to this next zone. I realize now 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. Oh, gosh. I'm going to have to hoof it to get back out of here. I'm going to die. I think the corruption is going to get me. But, yeah. We've got to keep going at this point. It's too late. All right. So let's go ahead and see what we're going to be drawing this time. It is 6, so it's going to be another large plant. There are lots of trees here in the exclusion zone. To roll both, add them together. 9. So 9 is an oblanceolate. Sure, oblanceolate. We'll use that term. It's kind of an oblong shape, slightly wider at the outside than at the stem. That's what it looks like to me. Okay, so So I guess it's supposed to be like a lanceolate, but reversed or something. I don't know. And then the placement of the leaves is alternate again. All right. And then finally, what's the unusual trait? So 5, this indicates you're in plant group C. It's the first time we've done anything from plant group C, and it's number 3. Ooh, this is interesting. So common tree, okay, it's a common tree with a large opening in the center, then a blinding flash of light erupts. You have an uncontrollable sense of being lost in a labyrinth. Next move, roll 1d6 and go in a random direction. Oh goodness, this is gonna be real bad. It's gonna be real bad. All right, I mean, this may, depending on how my next few rolls go, this might be a short game, perhaps, although I might have to draw a lot more than I expected. I only printed, like, my little book is only designed for having 8 in it, and I'm almost half full, although my time is over half up. So, anyway, I'll just kind of hope that I move the right direction. All right, so here we go. I'm going to roll then. Oh wait, no, I'm not rolling. I already know. It's a large plant. Okay, so let's go ahead and start again. We'll do the basic tree. Gonna branch it off this way. Maybe some other little branches coming off. There we go, and then this one kind of branching off this way. That's not terrible. Then let's go ahead and add in some of the leaves. Oh wait, I need the hole in the center. Oh, I should put the stars here just to indicate that. Okay, so there's the hole in the center, which blinded me apparently. And then we add some leaves in alternate fashion. Oh, I was talking about Cortland apples. So let's go back to that. Yeah, that's right. Or basically right. So Cortland apples are what they call a tip bearing, which means, right, that the flowers primarily I think it's technically semi-tip bearing or something like that, which means that primarily you're going to get your flowers and therefore your apples at the end of your, these are not great. Of any of the branches, right? So that does change a little bit how you want to like prune the tree. I have not had a lot of success, to be perfectly honest, with my Cortland, much to my wife's disappointment, because as I said, that is like her favorite apple. Probably the closest thing. It's an interesting apple because it has the whitest flesh of like any apple I think that I have seen. Like it's like, because normally there's I generally like things like Gala or Honeycrisp, right? These types. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, so those are the types of apples that I tend to eat. Right? Are Honeycrisp. The things that are sweeter a lot of the time. But my wife prefers things that are a little more tart. Cortland, they say, is a really good cooking apple. For example, making baked apples with it is really, really good, although you tend to sweeten them when you do that. So, anyway. Right, but it's something you're very rarely going to find in a grocery store. Okay, so let's see if we experience more corruption. We do. They're both under 4, which is our RV right now. So, the next thing that happens, so we're experiencing an itch. Small lumps begin to form on our skin. I really want to head back toward the exit as quickly as I possibly can. Right, so I'm going to head over here. Yeah, notice I'm not rolling. Remember to see if I have to draw, because I know that I have to, because I'm still in zone 6. So I know that I'm discovering new plants. So tell me about this plant. This plant is apparently medium-sized. Types of 11 again, so it's orbicular. Leaves placed. alternate every single time. All right, and then special traits. Oh, that was a 2. 2, 3. So this is part of plant group B. Oh, wait. No, I forgot something. No, I didn't get to choose which direction I went. I had to wander based on a random roll because I was blinded. Okay, so I'm going to roll a D. Okay, so 6. Right, so 1 is north. So I guess what I'm going to do, I don't know. So, okay, so 2 is northeast. So 1 be north, 2 be northeast. So I'm just going to say this is then going to be 1, 2, yeah, it says 3 is east. Yep, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, thank goodness. So I randomly wandered the direction I wanted to anyway. Whew, that's nice. All right. So now, notice that there's actually no compass rose telling me which direction is which. So I think what I did was fine. Yeah. If 3 is east, and it makes sense to me, I typically read north at the top of the map, south. So east would be this direction. So 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I don't have to justify this to anybody. I'm playing solo. Part of the point of playing solo is that you don't have to justify what you're doing to people. So I found another new plant. And what is this new plant here that I'm finding during hour 15? It is a medium plant with spatulate leaves I had a 6 there. That's a whorlet arrangement. That's an interesting looking thing. It's going to be extremely difficult for me to draw. Okay, in 3-2, 3 indicates this will be in plant group B. So fungal bulbs, fungal projections cover the plant, reeking with an almost unbearable stench. Oblong, about as large as your hand. Each one has a honeycomb exterior. Black stains streak down from each one. Oh gosh. Okay, so first it's going to be kind of shrub-like. And what it's covered in, well, let's see. It's these fungal bulbs, oblong, about as large as your hand. So there will not be very many of them because this is a shrub, so it's not very big, right? So, and let's see, cover the plant. Okay, well, so I'm going to try to draw. I'm thinking something kind of blueberry bush-like. So blueberry bushes, you tend to get lots of stems coming from, like, where the plant's in the ground, right? So here's kind of the ground here, right? So you get lots of stems coming up this way. Okay, and then we need to draw this kind of honeycomb. Shaped fungal bulb. So it's a bulb of some kind. Sure. I think this is at least communicating what is supposed to be going on here. Because I can't actually draw a proper honeycomb without taking way more time than I want to put into this right now. All right, let's also draw the whorlet leaves. Remember, they are spatulate, right? Yeah. So the way that whorlets work, this is something that I also know from taking care of apple trees. The reason that I do apple trees actually is that my wife grew up on an apple orchard. So my father-in-law raised apple trees for years until he retired and decided that he and my mother-in-law wanted to travel. And so he really didn't have time to keep doing the orchard the way that he had been. And unfortunately, all of us kids are too far away to really do it justice. Right? So he rented out the land to another farmer, and removed all the apple trees because they weren't interested in apple farming. They wanted to use it as kind of like a wheat field, that kind of thing. In any case, but one of the things you have to look for when you're pruning, oh, I like the way that's coming out. It's not quite as spatulate as I would hope, right? But it's doing more or less what I want it to do here. Right, so a whorlet. So sometimes one of the things you're gonna have to look for when you are pruning an apple tree, right, is you have to look for what they call whorls. And a whorl is kind of like a knob you'll see on the tree. Or let me see if I can get it to refocus there. There we go. Right. So it's a kind of a knob on the tree that you have a bunch of different, typically very small branches coming out of, and those branches tend to be extremely weak because in effect they're all kind of competing for resources from the plant or from the tree in this case, right? So this idea of a whorlet makes sense to me because it's a bunch of leaves all coming from the same point along the stem. Oh, that was, don't know what happened with that one. Okay. Right. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing here, actually, in 2 days, is right now, here very soon, the Origins Game Fair is going to be starting in Columbus, Ohio, which isn't too far from where I live. Actually, I lived in Columbus for graduate school. So we're taking our kids down to the game fair. This is, I think, the second time that my oldest son has gone, but the last time he was really, really little. We don't go down very often. I think mostly because last time we went, he was really young, and it became very obvious to us that he was too young, right? And was not interested in just kind of riding around in a stroller so mom and dad could look at games, right? So, but now our kids are getting older, as they tend to do. That's the typical thing for most children. There we go. So I'm not too ashamed of that one. Right. So we're taking all 4 of our kids down, and I was so happy about this because my wife and I said, well, let's look into it. It's generally kind of expensive, but it ended up not being terribly expensive because they actually have child pricing now that they do. So that if you have an adult badge, and the adult badges for 1 day are like $45, so it's not cheap. So to get my wife and I, it was like $90. But when we went online, it was $2 a piece for kids then, which is really good, right? And then there's also a discount that you could click on, so they're actually free, right? So any kids, I want to say it was under the age of, might have been 18 even, but they have to be with an adult naturally. So we were very happy. I'll just put it that way. All right, so now we have that drawn. Let's go ahead and see about if we got corrupted. So again, target is 4. Oh, we did. We absolutely did. All right. Tiny sprouts are erupting from the lumps. Yeah, we've got to head toward that exit and get there fast, like real fast. All right. Well, next hour, 16. Nothing is restricting my movement this time, so I'm going to go here. And let's see, do I find any? Nope, don't find anything here. All right, check for corruption though. Still RV of 4. Oh, thank goodness, no corruption. So 17, I'm going to go here. Anything? No. Check for corruption.